Welcome back everybody to the Wandering Samurai Study, in which we review and analyze every single act told in Rurouni Kenshin, and today's act is Act 6, Face Off with Sagara Sanosuke. Overall, my favorite thing about the previous act was definitely the scene where they were in the restaurant, and the concept of noise was amplified through the use of the blurbs within the panel and such. It was my favorite page in the chapter, and overall, the rest of the chapter kind of felt a little bit mid. It was really just the start. It was just kind of introducing us to Sanosuke and then ending off. Looking back on the video that I did, I wasn't entirely satisfied with the way I recorded it because I really didn't feel like I had much to say. And so I was a little bit nervous about recording this video specifically because I was afraid that it was going to be more of that. And so I read the chapter, I took some notes, and instead of recording right away, I put it off. Put it off for a few days, and now I'm back. I reread the chapter, and I took a little bit more notes, so I'm hoping that I have a lot more to, I guess, analyze. But this chapter, I feel was way better. I just liked it overall, specifically because it really just treads off of what we are used to or what we are very familiar with when watching the anime. The previous act was just all stuff that you already see in the anime, and then this one it's really different. Kihei has a lot of, I guess, screen time in this act. Gohei is really just cemented as a gag character at this point. And the Hiruma brothers, I kept saying Himura last act, and it was bothering me when editing the video, but the Hiruma brothers are really just going to take a step back now, where in Act 1 they were a pretty serious threat. You know, they were really causing problems. If they come out one more time before their cameo in the Jinshu arc, it's again to be a gag character, but I don't think that we're going to see them after this mini arc until the Jinshu arc. This act ends right as the fight begins between Sano and Kenshin. So I don't know why I was thinking that it was just a 2-act structure, but whatever. It just means that we get to talk more about this. So let's go ahead and jump into the summary. It's been 2 weeks since Zanza accepted the fight against Kenshin, and he seemed to have disappeared. Kihei and Gohei, both annoyed by this, Zanza suddenly appears, revealing that he went to prepare for the fight. At the dojo, Kenshin notices the arrival of Zanza through his fighting chi. The two meet outside, and Sanosuke reveals the reason that he was absent for 2 weeks was to gather intel from Kyoto on Kenshin. Kenshin accepts his fight, knowing that Kihei and Gohei hired Zanza. The 6 of them walk to the riverbank so that the two can have their fight. Just as the fight starts, Zanza shows off his zanbato and introduces himself as Sagara Sanosuke, someone who thinks that all revolutionaries are hypocrites. And just as I mentioned, there's always a gag at the beginning of the act, and I found this one particularly funny because Gohei actually cosplays as Zanza. And I love it. It's a bearded Zanza, or it's a rooster head Gohei. It's great. I wish we got to see Gohei like this in the anime, but nonetheless. We also have our first comment on Sano's bird head or bird hair. I think it's really good though when these type of things are established right from the forefront, the way other characters see the character in particular. Like I'm blanking on his name, but Broomhead. Cho from the Jupongatana. Immediately he's established as the Broomhead, and I thought that bird brain or bird head or rooster head Sanosuke was established in Kyoto, but no, Watsuki set it up right from the beginning. So kudos on, and a shout out for the first rooster head comment or bird head in this particular chapter. So let's go ahead and talk about like the big main point of Sano's character here, that he does not begin his fights with fists. No, he believes that gathering intel is really the way that fights begin, and this line here really just makes Sano a much more interesting character. Watsuki's really going out of his way to differentiate Sanosuke from everyone who's come before him. Everyone just rushes into a fight with Kenshin, not really knowing who he is. I think this really just plays into his character as a fight merchant. Yeah, you would expect a fight merchant to take his fight seriously, and that's his labor, right? Day job? I don't know what you call it, but of course, a good fighter wants to know who his opponent is. And so for Sanosuke to actually go and disappear into Kyoto to gather this information and come back and just info dump the hell out of Kenshin in the scene where he shows up, and then revealing to Yahiko who Kenshin is, God, it's so clever the way that this was proposed. It just makes me love Sanosuke so much more, and Sanosuke is already one of my favorite characters ever. And to see that he's a really smart character as he's coming off, the mystery is still there, making him really intriguing, but to be shown that he's also very smart and very capable it's really To continue elaborating on Sanosuke, there's enough here to hint at Sanosuke's past. We still haven't been revealed the full details. We still don't know anything about him as far as Act 1 to Act 6. We still don't know anything. Retroactively, we know, but from point A moving along, we still don't know anything about him. But the hints are there. Is what I'm trying to say. The hints are there. There's Kenshin wondering why Sanosuke, having a soul that is pure and honest, carrying the symbol or the kanji for bad or aku on his back. Kenshin knows that there's obviously some story there that he's not being told, and Sanosuke is only willing to tell him after the fight because he doesn't want a sob story at the beginning, which is a really cool line, if I do say so myself. But it's also the way that he talks about the Inshin Shishi, if I said that correct. Inshin Shinchi. It's the revolutionaries. The way he talks about them as they're all hypocrites. He clearly has a huge disdain for them. And you can see it in the panels where he's revealing Kenshin's past. He says it with a lot of to it, as well as when he calls revolutionaries hypocrites. There's a lot of force and anger transmitted through the panels. So we're gonna get that story, obviously, but it's hinted here. If you don't know, you're kind of starting to kind of pick up little clues of where the story's going. If you have any idea of how the story goes between the Bakumatsu and the Meiji Restoration. Not that I did prior to reading Kenshin, because this is actually my introduction to the Meiji, but neither here nor there. Now, I mentioned Gohei being portrayed as a gag character here, but Kihei is still very much a bad character. He's not been played up for jokes. He's not played up for laughs. There's a little bit of humor when talking about this nasty chi coming from the backside of the fence, but he still is a very evil guy. We see this as Kihei has anticipated Sanosuke losing the fight between Kenshin, saying that it's impossible for him to win as Kenshin is the Batosai, but he counts on, or he's heavily relying on Sanosuke doing enough damage to Kenshin that he can sneak in a gun strike at Kenshin. And so when the two are called out from the fence and Sanosuke actually punches or destroys the gun that Kihei was hiding, it also serves as a way of severing his association with Kihei. See, Watsuki set up Kihei to be really evil. As a matter of fact, I forgot to mention just a moment ago, but Kihei is still very much after Kaoru's dojo. He tells her, "This property will be mine, you wench." Watsuki set Kihei up to be evil. He set him up to be very villainous. He doesn't want this for Sanosuke, as I said that Kenshin notices that he has a pure and honest soul, but he carries the symbol of Aku, or bad, on his back, meaning that there's something there that he isn't a bad guy. He's off the straight and narrow and he needs to be redirected there. And that's pretty much where this story is going. But he's bad to the core. And so with Sanosuke smashing the gun, it symbolizes his disassociation with this character. He's bad, Sano isn't, he's just on the wrong course at the moment, and he needs to be directed back to the light. And so when they go down to the riverbank and the fight begins, there is actually a little bit of action before the chapter ends. And the thing to note about this is Kenshin actually slashing Sanosuke on his side and Sanosuke not going down. If it wasn't obvious already, it just further implements the notion that Sanosuke isn't like the previous villains. He isn't someone that's going to be taken down easily, and he's not someone to be taken lightly. Literally, he's not someone to be taken lightly, as he will continue to stand back up. And that's pretty much it. And so this marks the end of volume 1 of Rurouni Kenshin. We did it, everybody. We did it. In 3 weeks, we covered all of volume 1 of Rurouni Kenshin. Thank you for making it out this far. I humbly appreciate you all. Now, if you like this video, then consider subscribing to the channel and comment down below what you think of volume 1 of Rurouni Kenshin and all things in between. What do you guys think of the analysis series so far, and how do you guys think I'm doing? Go ahead and rate by giving me a thumbs up. But for now, I'll see you guys on volume 2, chapter 7. Bye, ciao.